Hello and welcome to Miles Away. I know, brilliant title. How did I not think of it before? I don't know, but we're going with it. So this is Miles Away, the UK, and I'm playing a little bit of catch up. It has been a little while since I uploaded a vlog, and so I need to go back, catch you up on some places that I've been, and probably split this into two vlogs because I've done a lot in the last number of weeks. So this vlog is going to be centered on my trip to Hadrian's Wall and the Castlerigg Stone Circle in Keswick, as well as our coastal walk along the northeastern coast from a place called Bamborough, where Bamborough Castle is, which is another huge castle like Alnwick is, down past another ruined castle called Dunstanburgh. And I'm including these together because they're really cool history hikes, I guess you could call them, because we essentially traversed through thousands of years of history while we were on these hikes. And then additionally, I'll be doing a vlog this weekend. I should be able to record it Saturday or Sunday, where I will actually take you around the castle, show everything that you can see now that the castle's open for tourists. I can actually show more in a walkabout vlog than I could have a couple of weeks ago. And so I can show you the whole castle, show you where we live, and at that time I can also, as I'm going, talk about my experience in London that we went to this last weekend, which was awesome, and I'll be able to get you a look into London. Now, getting into this week's vlog. I should be having pictures on the screen as I talk, so here we go. We got Hadrian's Wall. This is a huge endeavor that the Emperor Hadrian of Rome instructed in the 400s AD. And he did it because he wanted to separate Roman holdings in Britain south of where this wall was constructed from the tribes that existed in what is now Scotland. And he couldn't control any area beyond that. He couldn't keep invading further. So he said, build a wall. So they built a huge wall. It's over 70 miles long, and he managed to actually find the shortest way to lengthwise go across Britain to build this. And so he constructed this 70-odd mile long fortification, and it was pretty impressive for its time. And it stood for a few hundred years, and then people started cannibalizing it for their own farmhouses or farm walls that they would construct to separate their farms from other people's and things like that as the Romans left. A little while after that wall was built, they retreated as the Roman Empire began to divide and fall. But there's a few sections of it that are still quite intact that you can walk along, and that's what we did a few weeks ago. So we adventured out and started at the old remains of a Roman fort called Housesteads. And that was pretty cool because they've excavated most of the foundations of all of these buildings, and you can see the layout where the barracks were, where the main headquarters were located, where the quartermaster or the head of the fort would live, as well as a lot of their other useful ancillary buildings. And so I'll show a couple of pictures here as I'm talking about that. And got a couple of cool shots from on top of the remains of the wall at the fort, which is there. And then we started hiking along the wall. And we went for about 3 miles, if I remember correctly, down the west along the wall, it should be. And that was a hard hike. The Romans chose to use as much high ground as possible, but in the middle of Britain, high ground doesn't just stay like this, it does this. So they went up and down pretty much every hill they could to make sure that at least some part of their wall was on top of the hill. And so that was a grueling hike. It was really impressive that everybody made it through, because seriously, it was a really difficult hike to go through. And more than a few people slipped as it was pretty muddy, but that was an impressive hike and got some great views, as I have some pictures here, standing on some cliffs that they constructed them at. Really impressive area, and to know that was essentially 1600 years old. Really impressive that it was still intact in whatever form it was. And we had a good time there. It was exhausting, and that wasn't even the whole day. We finished that up by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon and drove out further west to an area called the Lake District, which is a national park in Britain. It's towards the western coast, and it is a beautiful, beautiful area. It has all kinds of mountains around, and it's also the site of an ancient stone circle, similar in type to Stonehenge, the famous stone circle in southern England. However, this one is a lot less massive in the weight and size of the stones, but it's no less symbolic and still just about as impressive in my opinion. I'll put a picture up here, and you can see the mountains rising up beyond it, and actually if you stand in the middle of the circle and you just slowly turn around, you actually see that this smaller stone circle with its rough, rugged rocks is surrounded by a massive natural stone circle of these mountains, these rugged mountains that exist. This stone circle was constructed on a plain, kind of in the middle of a big ring of mountains. So it has a lot of symbolism that even Stonehenge doesn't have. All it has, is that geometric alignment with the sun, but beyond that, there's not much around it to say it was pointing at something particular beyond the celestial alignment, versus this being really symbolic of the massive ring of mountains that exists there. So that was actually really impressive to go to, and the rest of the Lake District was absolutely beautiful, just a gorgeous area with lakes, as I'll be showing here, and mountains everywhere. Kind of reminded me of what the Scottish Highlands felt like as well, as that mountain range kind of does extend into the Lake District of northwestern England. So that was a really good time in that area. The particular town that Castlerigg is closest to, that's the name of the stone circle, is called Keswick. It's spelled Keswick, but just like the town where we live, which is Alnwick, Alnwick, they don't pronounce their W's. I don't know why, it's just what they do. So it's Keswick, if you're ever interested in looking up where that is. And that stone circle is 4,500 years old. So in one day we went to a wall that was 1,600 years old from the Roman era, and then we went to a Stone Age stone circle that is 4,500 years old. Really, really impressive to go there and just kind of stand and know that people were here moving these things around for a reason that was clearly important to them, because they quarried the stone, they put it in a particular circle in the middle of this huge ring of stones, and that was a really cool feeling. And then the next bit that I want to talk about is our coastal walk. We went to a place called Bamborough, where the castle of Bamborough is located, which I'll be showing on the screen here. As I caught a silhouetted image, we got a pretty good day to go out. It's almost always really windy on the coast, of the northeastern coast, but other than that, it was a pretty beautiful day. We got to clamber around on the rocky shores, and there are a lot of rock outcroppings that extend out into the ocean a little bit, and some of us were pretty ambitious and went out on them and managed to get back and off of them without any injuries, as there was present danger for them. It was tricky getting up and down. And then we took our time walking down the coast to another ruined castle called Dunstanburgh, which is not spelled like it sounds. It's Dunstanburgh, pronounced Dunstanburgh. Just like Edinburgh, the Burgh always goes borough. Again, Britain, English, make sense of it as you will. Got another picture where we sat on the little retaining wall around a lighthouse. And then we made our way down, and here I'll put up the picture where you can see the ruins of Dunstanburgh on the cliffs ahead of us as we were walking. And that was a pretty impressive sight, because you can see the one huge flanking tower that's still standing there. And it's a really defensible position on top of those cliffs, let me tell you. You would not want to try to take that castle. And here's a picture of the humongous gatehouses. It was a pretty well fortified castle, and any traditional method of attacking it probably would have failed, except that Dunstanburgh is infamous for being the first castle to surrender to cannon. And so it didn't have any defense against cannon. It was really good if you were trying to attack it with men. It was really good if you were trying to attack it by sea, because the huge cliffs bordering the sea edge, so you would wreck any ship trying to get in from that side, and it was pretty much impossible to get up to it on foot without being shot by archers or having to go up a massively steep hill and probably have stuff chucked on your head as you're trying to do it. But it was no match for the invention of cannons. So pretty ironic that it was built so well against all of the current war strategies except the new one, which was cannons. But it's still an impressive structure nonetheless. And just one last picture of me here. We found another cool rock outcropping that extended a little bit out towards the ocean. Well, it would be the North Sea, I suppose, connected to the Arctic Ocean. And beyond me, if you could see it, would be Norway. So next stop to Norway, where I'm descended as Norwegian primarily, and so that was kind of cool to be standing there and knowing the next thing that way was Norway. So really had an awesome time going along to Hadrian's Wall, to the Castlerigg Stone Circle in Keswick, as well as walking along the northeastern coast. Really enjoyed those, I guess you could call them history hikes. And again, next vlog, I will be going over London. I will be taking you around the castle. Should be coming this weekend. If that schedule changes a little bit, I apologize. It is pretty much finals week here, and so there's a lot of things due. There's a lot of things I need to prioritize, so I will be getting to it as soon as I can. But for me, that's about it. So I will see you next time on Miles Away.